around family and friends, we relax our tongue. So before you leave, you got to speak a little Gullah Geechee. So let me just kind of like exercise and get your tongues warmed up. Repeat after me. We are the ones.
We are the ones
that know.
That know
The going on.
the going on
Round yeah.
round here.
So you are now officially Gullah Geechee people. This afternoon. We want to tell stories about our folkways and our foodways and our spirituality, but I've got to go to the food first and give a round of applause to our chefs who prepared this fabulous food. And so I just want to say, when it comes to foodways, Gullah Geechee people will prepare the dish and you will give them compliments, but they will never give you the recipe.
Oh no, no such a thing. No, I ain't
And
getting
so, for an example, if you want to have my recipe for sweet potato pie, I just want to tell you, I make the best sweet potato pie in the state of Georgia. I really do.
She did.
Well, the chef is here, so I might have to have a little competition. But what I want to say is that as I was raising my two daughters, their friends would come home with them from college, and I didn't realize, Morris Brown grad, Morehouse over here, you know. I didn't realize that some of the young people were from like the West Coast, and they said that they could not afford to come home for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I said, well, what are they going to do? I said, they're going to stay in the dorm, Mom. I said, oh no, bring those churn children. Bring them churn to Savannah. And so they would come and they would eat our meal. And one time, they would give me all of the requests. So I had people who told me I had to get food from Whole Foods Market. I had to go to this place and that place. And I'm like, they're coming to Savannah to have a Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm going to cook my food. Right. And so we gave them our foodways. We had the best sweet potato pie here, and to this day, I'm still getting calls from them. They have their own families now, and they want to get the recipe every Thanksgiving and Christmas for sweet potato pie. So here's what we do. We give them the recipe. We say, listen, do not boil your yams. You have to bake your yams. Dr. Levette is here. Good afternoon. You cannot boil your yams because you're boiling all the flavor out. And so you got to bake your yams. And you put all your ingredients in, but here's the thing. You cannot put cinnamon and nutmeg in the same bowl, because I told y'all yesterday cinnamon don't like nutmeg. But when they call me on the phone for the recipe, my daughter says, Mommy, why did you do that? And I'm like, what do you mean? She said, Mommy, you didn't give them all the recipe. I said, child, I'm a dash cook. A dash cook puts a dash of this and a dash of that. And you can't never give them the whole recipe because you can't remember what you put in it. But I intentionally did not give those churn the recipe for sweet potato pie. I said they got to live a little longer. So I intentionally gave them churn. I'm so sorry. But I gave them the recipe for sweet potato bread. Oh, God. Sweet potato bread. Sister, I can't give them the real recipe. If you get them trying the real recipe in a minute or two, the egg pie going to taste better than you. So please know that a Gullah Geechee dash cook is always going to give you, watch this, one ingredient too much or one less. You can't never get the recipe for that red rice over there. So, when it comes to the folkways, I want Sister Roz to share. Everybody comes to Savannah and they want to know about the ghost place, you know, the stories and things. I want people to know that we as Gullah Geechee people, we don't believe in ghosts. We don't like ghosts. We don't want to hang around with ghosts. We believe in spirits. And so, have you all ever heard of driving by the house? When someone passes away in Savannah, to this day, traditionally, some families request that you drive by one last time. Going to the cemetery.
That's
So how that thing go, Sister Roz? How that thing go? Her best friend is an undertaker in town. It's the truth. It's the truth.
Oh God, yes, one of the best undertakers in town. They called me one morning and he said, I just want you to know I did something that I hadn't done in a long time. I said, what you done now? He said, well, I got a request from a woman. She said, sir, I need you to drive by the house. Now here's the address and I need you to bring Mama back home. He said, well, I got it in the hearse. I'm ready to go to the cemetery, go to the church, go to the cemetery. She said, oh no, I'm gonna be waiting for you on the front porch. He said, I pulled up to the address and she stood there and she had the door open and she said, come on in, Mama. come on in. He said he kept looking for Mama to get up out of the casket. But Mama was just lying there. He said, well, I followed the instructions. I walked in and she said, hey, Mama, hey, Mama. She went from room to room. And after about 15 or 20 minutes, he said, he looked around. She said, all right, Mama, you can go on now. And everybody was outside waving at the casket and waving at the hearse. Said, bye, Mama. So still to this day, they want that last glance and they're going to ride you by the house and give them that address. Dr. Levesque, you know about that. Don't we still do it? That's a day.
That's your day.
That's your day.
Now, you're talking about the cemetery, just one little story on the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go to the cemetery and they take those chains and take the body down in the ground,
Oh, yeah.
well, when I was coming up, I went with my mom to the cemetery for a funeral, and it was her best friend. And they put that chain down, taking the body down, and all of a sudden, oh my God, it got stuck.
Oh, God.
And I'm standing there like I was supposed to do, and I noticed everybody around us started disappearing. My mother grabbed my hand and said, come on, child. I said, Mommy, they're not finished. She said, come on, let's go. Well, when we got home, I said, what just happened? She said, child, anytime a body go down and it gets stuck,
Wait, see.
and they got to take the chains and roll it back up, that person who went down is coming back with somebody.
Oh, God.
And so everybody at the cemetery made sure it wasn't them.
Oh, no.
Well, that was her best friend,
Yeah.
and her best friend husband had a mistress for many years.
Oh, God.
And so they say, not me, I wasn't gossiping.
They
That's
say,
what the people say.
that's what the people had said. That's what the people say now, not me.
That she was coming back for him. And I'm telling you a true story. I came home from college. My mother said, I'll say Mr. W next door wants to see me. He says somebody's shooting at him. I said, you're going over there? She says, yes. I think he's hallucinating. Well, I went over there and he had a long service revolver. And I was at the door the whole time and she went over and she said, what's the matter? And he said, they're bothering me. She said, who? We don't see anybody. He said, you don't see them in the corners of the room? I said, no. And I didn't see anything, but I kept standing by the door so I could leave. Anyway, she said, my wife and her sisters are looking and teasing me. And she calmed them down. She put the gun away and we went back home. I said, Mom, what was all of that about? She said, child, he ain't gonna be here long. They're coming for him. And I'm telling you, 1 week later he was gone. Saw them coming back to him. So we say the God is community real or make believe. These are some of the things we know. I have 7 aunties. They're all gone now. Only 2 of those aunties have children. So the other aunties would adopt us as their godchildren. Every time one of my aunties was getting low, if you've ever heard of someone getting low, it means they're dying soon and they're just counting their days out, and they'll call a relative and say, get here, so-and-so low. You do not have time to do anything to get on a plane or get on the road because they're low. Well, anyway, they call Savannah. Every one of my aunties, they go into a hospice at Claxton Nursing Home. Come to Claxton, your sister is low. I drove my mother. True story, I saw this with my own eyes. We get to the parking lot, Mom, you go on in, you've done this before, I'll wait for you. While I was waiting in the parking lot, I heard an engine idling, like, keeping your car on. And I sat there with my car off and I kept hearing it and I kept thinking they should turn their car off, Never, just kept idling. I looked up in the sky, it was around 6:30 in the evening, dusk dawn in the winter. And I saw a cloud in the sky, and before I knew it, the cloud was making a formation, and the formation was in the form and image of a chariot. And so, I looked again, I saw it. I got out of my car, I knocked on the window. I'm not going crazy. Do you see anything up there? They said no. I got back in the car. My mother came. I said, Mom, do you see something in the sky? She said, yes. I said, what do you see? She said, a chariot. I'm like, you see a chariot? Yes. So how is it that we're the only 2 that see the chariot? She said, the chariot is always there waiting for my sister. I saw it. And so spirituality is what we're about, not really ghosts. But I can tell you now, we have a philosophy, my mother would say, I love you when you're living. Don't come see me when you're going. So we don't want to see any ghosts. We don't want to entertain any ghosts. And I have seen people in different counties as I take them around. I took one woman home in this beautiful estate I think it was like about 1,600 acres, and she and her family owned it in Liberty County. And I'm taking her down this rural road, and she said, slow down. I didn't see anything crossing. She said, slow down. I said, yes, what am I slowing down for? My relative sister are crossing the road. And so I hurried up and got her out of my car. I don't know. I'm just telling you that these places and spaces around here are sacred places and spaces for children. They really are. So now, sister, we got to make them turn have a little belly crack in here. So what kind of funny thing we could tell them about some of the things we've done? What do you think? So many.
Don't want to crack teeth.
Yeah, well, I could tell them about the religious horse.
Oh, the religious horse. Yeah, the two Union soldiers.
Yeah. So after the Civil War was over down here in Savannah, all of these soldiers was here, you know?
Yes.
And I was a single woman and everything. And I decided all these guys are good looking. I'm gonna get me one of these soldier
Get
boys.
me one of them boys.
And
Yeah.
was looking for a husband, you know? So I saw one I liked, and I said I want to invite him to supper.
Oh.
I invited him to supper, and I got my cast iron frying pan out, and I went out to the river, and I caught me a couple of whiting, not no mullet.
No mullet.
Because the mullet got a worm in your back. I don't want no mullet. So I got some whiting fish, and we put it together, and we fried up that fish and made like a little gravy with onions and sauteed the flour and made a little roux, you know.
Yeah, a little roux.
And I took that and put some jasmine rice together.
What do you say?
And I took the jasmine rice, y'all, and put it in a bowl.
Yes.
And made it kind of like a design.
Yeah, fancy.
Then you take the plate and flip it over so it looks like a mound.
Yeah.
Then I put all the fish around it with tomatoes and just stacked it up. I'm telling you, that was 1864.
What happened?
That man ain't died yet.
Ain't down yet.
No, he ain't died
He's
yet.
still living.
Man won't die. He still loves the food so much the man won't die. That's Gullah Geechee cooking. That's Gullah Geechee folkways for children. That's Gullah Geechee folkways. Yeah. So I want to tell you that the genres of Gullah Geechee people are so many. There are folkways and foodways, spirituality, water rights, environmental rights, and burial rights. You'll never ever find an African American headstone or statue in Georgia and South Carolina that's not turned towards the east, because you always bury with your head turned east towards Africa. So check it out when you go in, head towards the east. The new generation does not go to cemeteries. If they'll go to a funeral, they'll say as they're leaving, "We're never coming back here." I understand that. So I just want to say that in the Gullah Geechee tradition, we are losing a lot of these stories. We're losing a lot of the practices. And so whenever you have an opportunity to have your elders around you for holidays or just for a dinner, and Nana begins to say, I remember this, and start telling a story, don't say, oh my God, here comes another story.
Oh, Lord.
I need you to take your phones and press record. Why? Because when we lose an elder, we lose an entire library. I did not get the recipe for my mother's Savannah red rice. And so now I have to wait until my brother Tabby Allen gives me the recipe. So one day I went in there to try to sneak, and he intentionally messed up the red rice so I wouldn't find it. So I can't get the recipe from him. So pay attention. You don't go into a Gullah Geechee kitchen and ask for a recipe.
Oh, no.
You have to come into that kitchen and they have to make you a sous chef. And you have to learn that way. No cell phones are allowed in a Gullah Geechee real dash cooking kitchen. You do not bring cell phones in there because you're trying to learn. And if you bring your phone in, and just as you step away to protect someone, that's when the chef goes into their pocket and puts the secret ingredients. So you got to go in there without any cell phones. I want to tell you something for folks that are approaching 60 or you're already at 60 and above. Something magical happened to me in terms of Gullah Geechee folkways when I turned 60. Now, when someone asks me to do something and I don't want to do it, I just say no.
That's right.
I don't say no and explain. I just say no with my hand on my hip. And it feels so good. But I want to tell you that when you're talking about foodways and people preparing food and you come to dinner, I want to say warning, we're losing the art of communication. I see so many people sitting at tables, 5-star restaurants and what have you, and no one's talking to one another. The person over here has a phone, and this one has one, and it's time to get back to that. So I have come up with a rule in my house. If my daughters want to come to dinner at my house, I have a cell phone basket. And they have to put the baskets there and then come to the table. What do you all think?
That's right.
And then they have a way of giving me the name of the restaurant they want to go to, and they say, and you're picking up the tab, right? And I said I could do that, but when we go to the restaurant, no cell phones there either. And guess what? If you want me to pay the tab, no cell phones, and guess what? It's working. Try it. Try it. You'll like it. Try it. You like it. We have Sister Ross here as the national reenactor for Susie King Taylor, and this is what this house shall be. And so I wanted to take an opportunity to share those stories, to say, start thinking of your stories and your rememory. As I was sitting here eating the food, and the chef came over to make sure everything was okay, I said, eating your food brought back so many memories. Start putting those memories down, talk to your recorder, and start collecting them, because new generations will ask one day about that. And so for this house shall be a house of storytelling, truth-telling for sure, lectures and opportunities. And so Sister Roz and Brother Randall Williams, who's here, Reverend, they have come, and as we let you go, we want to share some of the stories and the freedom songs that we do. So, in 2014, I always want to put the date. We got an invitation to the White House under President Barack Obama. I want to make sure people know which administration. They gave us an invitation, you guys, 6 months before the event. And they said, don't tell anybody. I said, how in the world can they send a letter like this to Savannah and tell the Gullah Geechee people not to tell?
No such a thing.
You cannot hold a secret that long. So guess what I did? I went to my hairdresser. That's what we call it, a hairdresser. You know, back then. And I knew she told a lot of people business and things. So I said, well, I can tell her and it won't be like me. Right. So I said, now I'm going to tell you something now I want you to tell nobody. I said, we're going to Washington, D.C., and we're going to perform at a big White House. And she went and told everybody. Anyway, they give you instructions on what to do. You're going to perform in the Rose Garden, and you're not to take the silverware like Barbara Walters if you just don't want to do it. So we were raised right in Savannah. We're not going to take anything. Anyway, we're at the White House, you guys. We've gotten our performance down. They have a receiving line. We meet the president and his family, and President Barack Obama. He really does have swag, I just want to tell you. And so he received us, and you know what he said? I couldn't believe it. He said, are you that group from Savannah, Georgia? We said, yes, sir. He said, and I quote, I knew you were here when you entered the White House gates because I could feel your spirit. Amazing. I was like, let's just leave right now. Anyway, we're in the White House, and I want you to know they abandoned me. They abandoned me in the White House. Let me tell you what happened. I said, all of this is fancy and nice, but I'm a cook, and I sure wish I could see the White House kitchen. And so somebody told somebody, and the next thing you know, the Secret Service guy was tapping me on my right shoulder, you know, like my third grade teacher did when I was in trouble, like real firm. And I thought to myself, my whole life flashed in front of me. Oh my God, all those things that I did in the 60s, the 70s, they disappeared. And Secret Service said, come with me. So here I am. I went with him, we turned around the corner, and there was Mrs. Robertson, Michelle Obama's mother, true story. She said, I heard you want to see the kitchen of the White House. Yes, ma'am, I do. Went down to the kitchen area, and I saw everything, and it was fantastic. But I read about her, and I heard she had her own apartment in the White House and all of that. I said, well, listen, I heard that you have your own place, but I know you're from the south side of Chicago. Can you tell me if you ever have a liking for some food from Chicago on a Friday night? She said, yes. I mean, like some fried fish and things like that. She said, yes. She says, but I have my own apartment so I can prepare my own. I said, so when you have a taste for something real Southern, because I know you're originally from North Carolina, what do you do? And she said, come over here, my dear. And we went over to another area, and there was a cabinet, and went around inside. And as we opened and went inside, it was a black cast iron frying pan. We turned some more, and it was the stew, you know, the Dutch oven. Yes. I said, is this yours? Yes. What are you fixing here? Fried fish. What you fixing here? Oxtail stew. Okay. I said, Miss Robinson, you fix fried fish? Yes. You fix oxtail stew? Yes. Well, what you put with it? White rice. I said, Miss Robinson, you Gullah Geechee. So I went all the way to the White House and found my Gullah Geechee. Every place we go, we're looking for a little portion of Gullah Geechee. Now, if you're from the north and you invite me there to New Haven, Connecticut, for example, and y'all don't have no rice on the menu, we're going to go back to Savannah and talk about it.
That's right.
We're not really feeling the potatoes, but we'll eat it. But we'll say stuff like, can you believe they brought me to the house? Next time I'm going to bring some rice in my pocket. So it's just a folk way. We will appreciate yours, but we're thinking you're not normal if you don't have some rice somewhere. Yeah. So one of the songs that we did at the White House that would allow us to was a song that had to do with peace. So we have elders in our community that are in their 90s. Dr. Pat Stewart, who's 93, she says she's 90 and some change. And so we dedicate this song to her today because she's in recovery. She had a little fall. But she would say, tell them about peace. And so the song that we want to sing now is a song about the Civil War and all that's over. And what would they say? They would say that you need to go down by the riverside and study war no more. Down by the riverside and study war no more.
Gonna lay down my burden down by the river. Oh, down. Oh, down. By the river. Oh, I'm gonna lay down my burden down by. Oh, to study war.
Boys over now. Boys over, tell them.
Said I ain't gonna study war. Ain't gonna study war. Oh, ain't gonna study war no more. Said I ain't gonna study war.
Come on, children.
Oh, ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war
I can see him now.
no more.
Yeah. Woo.
And then downtown at City Market was the plantation quilts.
Yeah.
And the people say
What
they
do
had
people
all
say?
kind of images on how to get to the river. They say that the people downtown, they had no faith, and so they was going to be using them as a decoy. They say now if you're trying to get to the river on the Underground Railroad, then the one that don't have any faith, you need to use them as a decoy. So tell them as you're getting ready to go to the river, so you can float 22 miles down to Fort Pulaski.
Yeah.
Tell all those folks downtown to just sing as a decoy the song, Wade in the Water. Wade in the water.
Come on,
sir.
children.
Wade in the water.
Time to leave
Wade in the water.
now.
Wade in the water.
Did y'all see
Children,
him?
wade
Yeah.
in the water. Oh, God's gonna trouble.
Oh, he gonna do what?
Oh, see that man all dressed in white. God's gonna trouble the water. What must be the leader of the Israelites? God's gonna trouble the
Oh, he in trouble now.
Oh, see that children dressed in red.
Yeah.
But it must be the children that Moses led. God's gonna trouble.
He in trouble now.
Whoa, way
that sister
in
Billy
the
ain't got no left from here.
water. Way in the water. Children,
We got to
in the
journey.
water. Oh, God's gonna trouble the water. Oh, God's gonna trouble the water. Oh, God's gonna trouble the water.
And the word is Asheo. One more closing song, but before then, you sure have to have a little Gullah Geechee in your soul before you leave. So on your tables is a little brown envelope that says welcome. If you would please honor us by opening it up, it has a Gullah Geechee word inside. So now we're going to see a Gullah Geechee. So Mr. Rod's going to be the interpreter. Let's start right here with Sister Tamika. What does yours say?
Mine is hot tea.
Hot tea.
Hot tea, it
So
means
hot tea.
Gossip.
Gullah Geechee community means
But-
gossip. That means
But remember, you didn't hear it from me.
yes, you heard me.
They
If
say.
you get a text, even if you're in a meeting, make hot tea, you need to hurry up with that meeting. Call them because it's some hot tea. Hot tea. Cold tea you can wait, but hot tea you gotta call them right away.
Get it now.
So let me just stop here, and I'm gonna go over here to Kelly Seward on this side. What does yours say?
Dash cooking.
Dash cooking. He would get the one that say dash cooking.
Oh.
Let's see on the other side.
Survival cooking.
Survival cooking.
That's right.
Remember, dash cooking means I cook by survival. When everybody got in the cupboard. You come to my house one day, I taste a certain way. You come back, it tastes a little different because I cook based on what I got in the
That's
cupboard.
right.
Dash cooking. What about you? You got one?
She's got one. To sunrise.
Ooh, that's our favorite. And what's on the other side?
Day clean.
Day clean. So we don't say, I see you at sunrise. We say, I see you at day clean. Day clean really means that your creator has cleaned the sky to give you one more day to smile. Day clean. Every 24 hours, a new day comes. So God done cleaned it up, give you another chance. And anybody else over there with the card? No? Let's go right here then. What do you have? Oh, for true. That's right. For true.
True now.
So you guys say, really? And we say, for true? For true. Same difference. Yes. Dr. Vet, do you have one?
Mama them.
Mama them. Mama them. That means mother, right? When you say mama them, that's it.
That's it.
So mama them will call me early Friday morning and say, we're going to have a fish fry tonight. Like, Mom, I got something to do. No, we're going to have a fish fry. And this is what you're going to bring. And call your sister and call. And so if mama them call, you got to do exactly what they say. Mama them. Yes. This is Connie?
Oh, mine says, how are you? And how you be?
Yes. You guys say, how are you? We say, how you be.
How you be?
Now listen, the elders don't have time for that. They're going to walk right up to you, and they're going to look you over, and they're going to say, how the body be? Y'all hear me? How the body be? So that means they're impatient. They want to know what ail your child. Because if you tell me what ail you, I can give you some kind of oil or something I got to make you feel good. So I love that. How the body be? That's really getting to the point, right? Okay, I'll come right here where you are.
I have a 16-year-old daughter. There's a reason why you're out there. One more gin.
What
This
is
is your
it?
last time.
I'm gonna tell you one more again. Y'all heard that? I'm gonna tell you one more again.
There's a reason why
Now
not.
listen. That one is the most popular one. I'm gonna tell you one more again. I want to tell you, put another piece to that and see if you remember this. They'll say, I'm gonna tell you one more again. Go sit down somewhere. But then they also say, child, you done asked me 50 questions.
No, that was it.
50 questions.
11 questions.
Is a part of it. Yes, I love that. What do you have? Oh, crack tea. I'm turning over that crack tea. I'm turning laughing. Crack tea means to laugh, talk with joy. So crack tea. Yes.
I have yam up the food. Save some for me.
What they say? They get mad because the child doing what?
I yam up all the something in the tank. I yam up all the food.
They get there to the table before they get there because they'll take it off.
Take it all. Yam up.
We have a lot of brothers and sisters. Right here, Miss Kim.
Take a look, see.
Uh-huh.
Take a look.
I say that on my tour all the time. Come over here and take a look-see. And then I say, with your third eye.
That's right.
That they see it, and it's right in front of you. Don't you forget, right? Okay, what about Brother Todd?
You and me.
One of them say, people done call us to the White House and think we ain't got no kind of manners and ting. But we had a lot of manners and we ain't took nothing that we didn't come with. Right here.
I think this is a Nasia for a grandma.
Turn around. Oh, Nana.
Oh, Nana.
Oh, it doesn't look like it.
Fancy little writing. Nana. Well, some people have, they call their grannies Nana. So it's universal kind of now, really. Yeah. What you have?
Where you going?
Where you going?
Where you going? Where you going? Where you going? Where you going?
Where you going?
Why? Nowhere.
Charleston.
You didn't stay.
And they say, well, I don't know where you're going, but I saw him yesterday.
Yesterday.
Then I saw him
Say
yesterday.
yesterday.
They say yesterday means yesterday. And again, we speak the Queen's English, but we're on the urban side of Gullah Geechee. Gullah from the Angola tribe, Geechee from the Geechee tribe. This is urban Gullah, if we go across the water to Carolina, they speak a thicker tongue. And I'm telling you, we can speak Gullah Geechee with them for 5 minutes, and then I say, wait now, what did you just say? Don't get it twisted. I don't speak a whole lot of it because they got it thick over there. Over there.
Before we go, when we're done, I just want to make sure we observe protocols. We'd like to leave a song with you.
Oh, I love
We
it.
won't necessarily sing it, but we're library people, so we'll
I
leave
will.
you a paper. Maybe we'll be moved to sing.
We
I
love
just want to say before we go,
Yes,
we don't
yes,
take a
yes,
small little
yes.
presentation to
We
you.
would be glad and honored. Miss Aya.
That's
Grand
it,
Rising.
Grand Rising.
But try to say it instead of good morning sometimes. Say Grand Rising. Or take somebody Grand Rising with my son. My brother's staying there. He's number 9, I'm number 7. And I text him and he's busy, he won't answer. I text him again, he won't answer. So I just sent him a big Grand Rising with a big old sun. And it fills up his whole phone when he calls me back. Grand Rising, start off correctly. Yes, Grand Rising. Yes. Or Grand Morning. What do you have?
That's what
That's what the people say.
That's what the people say. That's what I don't
Right, I got some hot tea.
I don't gossip, so don't
Take that, but don't tell it from me.
Yeah, that's what the people say. That's what the people say. I ain't saying
It's starting today.
Boy, B-O-I instead of B-O-Y. Now, Ross got to give the example. When the Gullah Geechee people, so serious, you know, when the Gullah Geechee people get vexed with you, they start talking rapidly. And so one day, we were downtown, I wouldn't call the name of the sub shop, but we were downtown, and the manager was a young man, and he had some women that was working with him, but he was being so ugly and disrespectful. So what happened, Sister Ross?
I walked in and he was behind that counter and I saw a young lady looking like she was intimidated and he was like he was running a plantation. I went and I said, "What the hell you boy?" I said, "Yeah, I'm talking to you, boy. Boy." And he looked at me, I said, "Don't you ever intimidate any of your workers, particularly females. We ain't having it. Don't make me take off my earrings and jump across that counter, boy."
So when they say it like that, boy, that's right. Same thing. So that's what that means. I was in the bank. I was at the counter, and the young man came in, and he had his phone on, and he had music playing.
Yes.
And the tellers were afraid to say something to him, but I was trying to get my money down pat. And so I told the teller very softly, "I just must turn the thing off." And he said, "Are you talking to me?" And I wasn't really talking to him, but something came over me. So I put my hand on her hip, and I said, "If your music on your phone is stopping her from counting my money, yes, I'm talking to you." That's how you do it. Because as an elder, at some point, you're just not afraid. And I wanted him to know, turn that off now. You're in the bank. And I said, boy, B-O-I. If you're local, you'll get it. And so the young people do that. We make fun sometimes with the young people by saying, "You know, I know your mama them." Don't act up, because what's your mama name? What's your name? What's your mama name? What's your grandma? I know your whole family. Who your people? So say it with me. Your people. And they straighten up and fly right this way. Don't they, Brother Randy? So, do we have any more? I'm going to say this. Giant weed.
Giant weed.
Which is what we're doing now, joining us. It says giant weed. Yeah. Does anyone have one that says, "Ain't studying you"? So have you ever heard that before?
Yes.
I ain't studying you. I ain't studying you. That means I'm paying you no mind. That means I'm not vexed. I'm not going to worry. I don't even see you. So those are the kind of things we use for communication around here. So I just want to let you know that those are some of our delegates and folkways.
Oh, no, it was the one.
You have one over here?
That was the one.
Oh, that was it? Ain't studying you?
Yeah.
Use it. Yeah. And then sometimes you just think it, now don't say it to your boss, but just say
Absolutely not.
you gotta be-
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I still don't tell it.
Yeah. So, what song you like to open up with? Because they're gonna do a song. Yes, yes. So Randy, Dr. Randy Williams is the #1 gospel extraordinaire in the city. He really is. And he does a song that I want you to hear. Let me just let him sing. Yeah. He doesn't need a mic.
Doing well without it.
Yeah.
I have to say before I sing this song, I have to always give honor to, though she is the superintendent of this one, she's my assistant principal. There's Dr. Burnett over here. And the thing that really blessed me about her was one day I hadn't seen her in years. She saw me and remembered me, remembered my name, remembered that. Yeah, you one of my singing children. I remember you. So I would never forget her.
Yeah, we love her.
But, so anytime I sing a song, it does. When I see her, it takes me back to Bartlett Middle School before it became the STEM. So mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Yes, yes.
He is traveling out
Yes,
the vintage way, the bricks of wrath.
Sing it, children.
He has loosed the fearful lightning of his terrible swift sword.
Yes, he has.
His truth is mouth.
Yes, sir.
Sing
Sing it, yes, sir.
singing glory.
Go ahead, boy. You better say that.
Glory, hallelujah. Oh, glory, glory, hallelujah. Oh, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
No, we're not teaching. We brought something. You know it already. We brought it. We're not giving it. We brought it. It's something that you already have. We just brought a copy of it. As Dr. Gunn, as I call her, and this is Assistant Pat, knows that, and others, we're from the Beinecke Library at Yale University and from New Haven, Connecticut. And we're a place that as you have been sharing with us, believe in spirits. And we have many spirits in our library. It is a special collection where lots of people live. Langston Hughes lives in our library in the form of 600 boxes of materials that he donated beginning in the 1940s through his life and on his passing from earthly life, but continues to live on, obviously, in words and what held by everyone, and the material is in our library. And I wanted to give the three of you a few things that are, we can't bring books out of our library. They stay there so that 200 years and 2,000 years from now they'll be there, but a little token, and we look forward to seeing you in New Haven. And I brought some facsimiles of a notebook that was written by a school teacher and principal. So let's shout out for all the teachers and principals. And it was written in 1900 for a mass assembly of school children down the road in Jacksonville, Florida, for President Lincoln's birthday in 1900. It's a song I think everybody knows, that again is a song that we have some lyrics of, and the oldest known surviving lyrics in James Weldon Johnson's own hands in his notebook from 1900, which are part of the James Weldon Johnson and Grace Nail Johnson papers in the James Weldon Johnson collection of African American Arts and Letters, which we at Beinecke Library steward. They belong to us all and belong to the world and to the ages. But this is a facsimile of the earliest surviving lyrics in Mr. Johnson's hand, in school teacher and principal James Weldon Johnson's hand, of that song, which he shared with his brother, as many of you know. And J. Rosamond Johnson almost immediately said, maybe on their porch in Jacksonville, scored it. The Johnson brothers were doing fairly well by that point, so they had a national music publisher, and so they had the song the score and lyrics published for the school assembly in Jacksonville. And this is a story that some know, but it's good for us all to know and share. They didn't necessarily think that the song was going to live on. It was an occasional song, right? It was for one event. But the school children kept the scores. It was a mass assembly of hundreds of children. And the school children kept it and shared it with their siblings and their parents, and they kept passing it on. So much so that I think the Johnson brothers at some point were hearing their own song. And it was then made the official hymn of the NAACP, and is now, of course, once again in full flower throughout the nation as the national hymn. So a small token of something that we have the honor of being stewards of, and look forward to having you with us in person sometime in the near future, along with other things that we have there, and with full hearts from all of us in New Haven to you and to all of our beloved siblings throughout Savannah for what's been an extraordinary week. So,
And James Weldon Johnson is dear to Savannah. He was actually the founding, he founded the local chapter of the NAACP here in Savannah in 1914. So he's dear to this city. We love him. I talk about him all the time at the Civil Rights Museum. So he was actually the one that founded the chapter of our local chapter of the NAACP in 1914. Yes.
and we're making notes of the various connections in Savannah and New Haven, which rhyme with others. This is another one that we will look, and when you come up, we'll get the correspondence and papers that Mr. Johnson no doubt has in our library of his time in Savannah.
I'm looking forward to being there. I can tell you, I spent a whole day in the library. When you say we're closed, I'm like, I just got here. I love libraries. I think there should be a 24-hour library.
And we took note of the rights that Thank you, Dr. Yvette, for coming. Dr. Ball was here. Thank the school system. Thank the university. Thank you all for coming into this place that we call the sacred space for Susie King Taylor. So thank you very much. And pray our strength. And we're trying to get Susie King Taylor Square, so you may get an email from us saying send a letter to the city and the mayor. We want to have the first woman named square, and the first African American square in the city. Yes. And I just saw our former mayor Otis Johnson the other day, and Dr. Johnson said, "I'm going to help you." So,
Say her name. Say her name. Say her name.
Dr. Yvette, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, I'm happy that my colleagues have been able to experience UPAC, and just happy about all of the enrichment that you provided to the larger community, but also having the opportunity to share your talents and share your gifts with our visitors. We are always pleased to be able to talk about our history and what that means, and the influences of that history on our current life. I mean, just going through the vocabulary itself, it reminds us all about our roots. And so thank you for entertaining and being a big part of the life of our visitors, who are our sisters and our brothers. And they are learning so much about how our connections are really deep, not only between us and New Haven, but all across the land. So we're very, very happy that you were able to do that. And I knew Randall was going to tell that when I saw him. He was going to tell. They have met more people that I have known since they were kids. They had an opportunity to meet Dr. Johnson the other night at the concert. That was a real, real treat. And just, I'm just happy that they've had this experience. So
You are Savannah treasure, Dr. Savannah. I always admired you at the Civil Rights Museum, and I would always say, I admire you from afar and being in your company and just to watch Bo Lavette's daughter and you know,
that's right.
You've been
Those
a blessing.
people.
That's your father. So you all have given this community so much respect and hard work. Maybe people don't always hear it or know who did it, but when I hear that name, I know it's good stuff. carries a lot of weight, and thank you for your service, and we
And
do love
special thanks to my team for making it all work out. Yeah, they are an awesome team. I couldn't do what I do without them. They know how much I love them, care about them, respect the work that they do. They make all these things work. Anybody who says they can do this job or any job without a good support network, it's just foolish. So I know how valuable my team is, but also being able to connect across the community to bring our gifts to the surface, while we're also continuing to learn how we can improve as a community, as a nation. I think those are the things that have been exemplified over this period. They understand the value of partnership, and they know how important it is to support our local people. We believe in supporting our local people because that's where the expertise is. So thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Just